Rolling. Hi, everyone. Good evening to you from Germany. And yeah, luckily today, Stephen and I, we are live in the studio, the same location for the first time. Welcome back to the Opportunity Pulse bi-weekly podcast. Today we have not just a very important topic to talk about, but also a very important guest that we have the privilege to have her join us live, also from Berlin. Today, we're going to be talking about roots and bridges. How can we build strong, sustainable, united Afro-Diaspora communities in Germany, in Europe, wherever you are? As always, we're going to be sharing our own experiences, what we know, what we think, and it's always open to, you know, discussion, right? Speaking of which, let me edit the name here and also add your name there because I was just seeing Mike and you're also there. Before we proceed, yeah, like my co-host is always to briefly introduce himself for those who do not know him and see him for the first time. And then our special guest is going to also introduce herself, and then we dive into the topic of today. Stevie, please.
Welcome to you all viewers and wherever you're listening. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We are so delighted to have Omora on this channel today, and also glad to be in studio with Mike. What an honor to be here with you and share the platform. So thank you so much. My name is Stephen Bwete, the guy from Chiroto Consults. Chiroto means to dream. Opportunity Pulse means opportunities. And we're here to share our knowledge and experiences, insights on this very vital and important topic about roots, bridges, and how can we build strong Afro-Diaspora communities. So looking forward to a wonderful exchange.
Great. So, um, wherever you're watching this from, feel free to use the comment section. We usually get comments if you're watching from YouTube or LinkedIn and Facebook. If you're watching from other platforms, we may not be able to see the comment right now, but we definitely will get back to you. So, without wasting further time, I would like our special guest this evening to briefly introduce herself, tell us a bit about herself, and then we will dive into the main topic for today. Amolola, please.
Hi, everyone. And first of all, thank you so much, Michael and Stephen. Thank you for this opportunity to be here this evening. And I'm so grateful. And my name is Omolola Olujimi. And I currently reside here in Berlin, Germany. And I've been here for close to 3 years now. I had my master's degree in Law, Digital Innovation and Sustainability in Italy, Rome, Italy, before moving down to Germany to start a new life and work and all that. But yeah, I originally came from Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria, and I had my bachelor's degree in law. And yeah, I practiced for a while in Nigeria before moving down to Europe for my master's degree. And yeah, I also have some one or two roles as a leader in my small community here in Germany, in my church, and also, I am also someone that helps newcomers, especially students, to find their footing here in Germany. And so, yeah, I'm so happy to speak to you guys today, and I hope it's going to be a wonderful time. Yeah.
100%. We're looking forward to that too. Now, speaking about roots and bridges, building strong, united Afro-diaspora communities, I'd like all of us to know that one thing that brings the three of us together is the fact that we are involved in the same space. We are all community builders. Community builders, not just in the sense of building just here, but even all the way before people come here. Stephen has been in the international education space for over 10 years, helping young Africans, Asians who are coming to access opportunities in Germany. That has also been my case in the last 6 to 7 years as well. And our dear Omolola is also within that space of international education, study and work abroad. And this is the first step, right? So the people come here, but it doesn't finish there. What is the life like also here while living in Germany, while living in other parts of Europe? And as you heard, our guest speaker introduce herself. She first studied in Italy, and now she's in Germany, integrating into the community and also building communities. Stephen, what comes to mind when you hear the topic roots and bridges? And how do you feel about the strength of the Afro-Diaspora community in Germany?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question, Mike. Again, to me, the topic roots, for me, sound like that constant search for identity.
Yeah.
What I identify with when I leave my home ground, the place that I know very well, because my roots are in Uganda. In Uganda, I have a close family, I have an extended family, I have a friend circle.
Yeah.
We have certain rituals, we have some events, we speak the same language with certain community. We sit the same way at a dinner table, we eat a certain food, and we listen to some music, and we exchange over certain topics that are very common to this particular group, which I call my roots.
Yeah.
Now, the moment I take the first step to leave that place to another place, I plug into a new environment. And that environment is definitely not the same as where I come from.
Yeah.
And that gives me a totally different experience. I bring my roots to this place that does not probably feel the same connection. And now I have to struggle to find my identity, fitting in the new one, not forgetting my own. So this is what I get from this. Now the question will be, how do I bridge the one I came with the one that I found?
Yeah.
Nothing is less important. They are all important, but they're all important for us to build a community between diasporans, but also the German or whichever Italian, US, wherever you are, to be part of that community, not exclusive, but be part of that community.
Yeah.
So this is what I get from that topic.
100%, 100%. And to you, Lola, you've experienced life a bit in Nigeria and then in Italy and then also briefly in Germany. And you are also a leader here in Germany. What has been your experience like building communities, especially within the Afro-Diaspora space? What do you see?
Okay, thank you so much, Michael, for the question. What comes to my mind first of all is let me try to paint this scenario. So, imagine a young Nigerian engineer that just arrived in Berlin, full of hope and ambition. Back home, he had this thriving career, and here he gets here and he finds himself working these night shifts, cleaning offices. It is not for lack of talent. No, it is not because he lacks work ethic. Most times it's because of hurdles like language barriers, unfamiliarities with navigating the German system and all that. And stories like this are far more common than they should be. And that is why our conversation today is so important, because I see a pattern. Many of our brothers and sisters, even those who were successful professionals in Nigeria or other African countries, end up settling for menial jobs in Germany. And so they work in warehouses despite holding degrees, and skills that this country actually needs. And most times the reasons are clear, a language barrier that makes it hard to integrate, or simply not knowing the system, or knowing not knowing what benefits and opportunities they are entitled to as residents here in Germany. And so it is not about just jobs. It is about belonging. It is about well-being.
Yeah.
I know that a recent study in Germany found that African immigrants rated their life satisfaction at only 6.6 out of 10 on average. And so the question is, why the gap? This report actually points to the fact that like Africans there are going through a lot. Like little to no employment opportunities, the challenges of integrating the languages, language barrier for many African migrants. So in other words, factors like struggling to find good work and feeling like you don't fully belong can weigh us down. And so, talking about the topic, why roots and bridges, building strong, united Afro-diaspora communities matters a lot. Especially now that our community is growing and the stakes are high. So in my experience as a community leader so far, I have seen that it is actually important for we Afro-diaspora communities to come together as one. Do you know that around 72 thousand people of Nigerian origin alone, just Nigerians, are living in Germany.
Yeah.
And although that we also have some thriving Ghanaians, Cameroonians, Ethiopians, and other African communities, but we are spread across major cities,
Yeah.
in Germany. And the only way we can stay connected is through cultural associations, through social networks.
Yeah.
So as more African students and professionals arrive each year,
Mhm.
and it is crucial that we lay a strong foundation so that every one of them cannot just they are not just here to they are not just surviving alone, but they also thrive in this foreign land. So yeah, there's a huge opportunity in front of us.
Yeah.
Germany needs skilled people, but
Yeah.
then the question is, how do we ensure that Afro diasporans can seize those opportunities rather than remaining underutilized?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like just to end this, so I give you time to also talk.
Yeah.
When I really reflect on the phrase roots and bridges, I see a powerful image. Roots means our heritage, it means our identity, it means our rich culture that we bring from Africa. And then these roots ground us. They give us strength, they give us pride. And bridges on the other end means connection, transition. So we need both. We need to stay connected to our roots. We need to come together to build bridges. We need to come together to build bridges between generations, between diverse African groups, and between our community and the wider German society. And
Yeah.
this is the only way by which we can stay grounded here, and we can stand tall together and prosper
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
You know, when Lola was talking, I can't count how many times she said opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Speaking about opportunity, that's the platform that is bringing us here today. It is also for this same reason that Stephen and I teamed up. Was it last year or the year before?
The year before.
The year before, because we see these opportunities around. Some people know some things, others know other things, and the same way you mentioned that we are all scattered,
And that's the bridge.
you know. And then we thought, how do we come together to see that we can support each other? And what's even more interesting is the fact that there are a lot of opportunities here, and there are also the resources here to leverage on that opportunity.
Mhm.
But um, we now came with the thesis to say, why is the German government going out to source talent and people to access these opportunities? But there is a big community of migrants, more specifically Africans here, who are not leveraging these opportunities. And that was when we started the journey that led to where we are today. Um, I really like it the way you mentioned these opportunities, the fact that they exist, but also the fact that there are the communities, but everyone is scattered. And what we have been doing so far, Stephen and I, with all the partners that we work together, is to see how can we continue to connect them. At some point, Stephen, we also talked about working with the leaders of different African communities because it becomes difficult to get to these people individually. But we know that they also belong to one or more other communities. And if we can connect the leaders, then we'll also get to the people. Stephen is the leader of the Ugandan community. Stephen, can you share what your experience has been like? I mean, you are in various diasporan communities, very well networked there. What have you seen in these communities, and how does it affect our common roots as Africans? And how are we building bridges to support each other and have a united and strong community in Germany?
I think it's a very important point that you're mentioning, working with the leaders, working with the elders, working with the old comers. And Omar had made a very good connection between the roots and also solving problems, like
Mm-hmm.
the migrants coming with the hopes and expectations that are unmet.
Yeah,
And then finally, you need a platform, you need a safe space to talk about your unfulfilled expectations.
exactly.
You need someone to say it's not over yet. There's still a
Mhm.
chance for you to connect, to meet people. There is this
Mhm.
opportunity. Now, back to your question. My role as a leader of a community, I've realized that it's so critical to meet.
Yeah.
It's so critical to organize, to build, to network.
Exactly.
And for different reasons. For some, it's the feeling of safety and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
For some, it's that connection back to their roots, just by mere coming together and speaking the language that binds them together. And for some, it's the feeling of, you know what, I'm not alone. Yes, also there are some who don't want to meet for their own reasons. But as a leader, I've realized that most of the community members or the diasporans are looking for that. The challenge is some of these platforms are not known.
Yeah.
They are not visible. They are not physically located somewhere that you can walk into.
That's
there.
true. That's true.
They meet usually also given the season. If it is a nice weather in summer, you see plenty of them.
Yeah.
In winter, they all go into their holes. So it makes the roots and the connection a bit difficult. But there is a desire and an interest in connecting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so just a couple of weeks ago, we had an event called the Big Discussion Day. And the goal of that Big Discussion Day was, again, roots and bridges. There are, I think we had in our presence that day, arguably the oldest African man in Germany. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say the oldest, but to say for the context of Berlin, I would say the oldest one to be, at least that is on record.
Yeah.
With 50 years and counting.
In Germany.
In Berlin.
In Berlin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a Ugandan.
So we have this Ugandan Baba, I would say, lived in Germany now over 50 years. And then we had, of course, other people too. Older people that have been living in Germany 50, 40, 30 years. The interesting thing is, these are people of similar roots like us. They came to Germany at much, much different times. They've seen several, stages and transitions in the German government phase and also in Africa as well. And then there are the younger ones like us who came to Germany not too long. You're going close to 20 years now. And then, over 10 years. And my point being, you see the difference in gaps in the time that we came to Germany, which translates to the difference in experience which we have. And how are we helping one another to leverage our experiences at different times to see that essentially the next set of Afro-Diasporans in Germany make some progress than the previous one, that the life of the next is always getting better. And that was one of the key events which we organized as a community, of course, in collaboration with other communities as well. And I find this very important, that the older ones are able to connect with the younger ones. And older in the sense, not just age, but also experience. Lola, you were talking about how, experienced professionals come to Germany and they're not exploring their full potentials, right? But then there are also other people who are, they have the experience in Germany. They've been living here for a while. And these are people that are supposed to connect others. You have it working in some cases, you have it not working in other cases. And I feel like this is one key part that we can also try to fix within the society. I'd like to come back to you, Lola. Given your leadership position within the community in Berlin, what have you seen? How do you see people helping each other or not helping each other? And what do you imagine would be the ideal situation in your community? What would you wish to happen to see that we continue to build stronger, united Afro-Diasporan communities?
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you for the question. Okay, so I'm going to start first from what are some common challenges I've seen so far that hinder us from, striving for a strong, united community. And the first one I would say is lack of unity. One risk is that we remain divided, along lines of nationality, ethnicity, religion, and even, Francophone, Anglophone, Africans. Because you can imagine if Nigerians only stick with Nigerians, if Ghanaians only stick with Ghanaians, and older or younger generation only they barely talk to each other. We weaken our collective strength.
Yeah.
Division makes us small in number and voice. And overcoming this might not always be easy, if we are not intentional about bridging up, closing up the gap.
Yeah.
And so we miss out on the power of our diversity. And so unity doesn't mean that we all become the same, but it means that we can leverage our shared identity, as people of African descent, and have each other's back, despite differences. So I feel this lack of unity, is one major issue here, because some people come and they're like, I want to be on my own.
Yeah.
Some even come and say, I don't want to relate to some other Nigerians. I mean, in Nigerian, saying I don't want to relate to some other Nigerian, I just want to stay on my own. And here you can't survive just staying on your own, because it can be crazy out here, staying alone. So you just have to belong. We just need to have each other's back. And another major challenge is information gaps and language barriers. you
Yeah.
know People, even the Bible says it, that my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yes.
People lack information a lot.
Mhm.
The lack of information reaches the people, especially the people who needs it most. They don't even have they don't even have privy to such information. And
Yeah.
so whether it is free integration courses, mentorship programs, scholarship opportunities, or even basic rights as employees or residents, what we don't know can hurt us. you
That's right.
know it can information can either make us or man us. It can either stop us or push us forward. So as a result, some end up making uninformed decisions or missing out on some benefits that could improve their situation. So if we as a community don't prioritize sharing knowledge, like, hey, how did you get your diploma recognized? Hey, what did you do to where can I get like legal advice, or if you face discrimination at work, or how can I go through this, how can I do this, how can I you know if you don't ask questions, you will definitely remain stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing we need to improve on is we need to push ourselves out there. We need to network. We need to move people. We
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to ask questions, because we can't let lack of information be what will hold us back in this age where information is freely available.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think one last challenge I was also just talk about is settling for less.
Mm-hmm.
It is understandable that when people face hardship, they people have to lower their expectations sometimes and take whatever job or treatment they can get. But one pitfall I see is when this becomes a permanent state. When our people start to believe that this is all I can ever do here in Germany, or people like us can't reach higher ground here, which is a total lie. Like it's a matter of your mindset. The
Yeah.
way you can drive good car in Germany, you can have your own house, you can have your own businesses, you can flourish like every other German. Here in Germany, the most important thing is step out, meet people, ask questions, relate, and try to, learn from people that have been here before now, and that can give you good advices on how to go about it. So yeah, talking about, you know, what I think can help us moving forward as a community leader, from what I've seen so far, I believe something that can help us a lot is, strong support network and mentorship. Because community solidarity is, the foundation of everything. We need
Yeah.
to support each other through formal and informal network, whether
Mm-hmm.
it is church groups, student association, professional networks, or even WhatsApp groups, where people can share job leads,
Mm-hmm.
where people can, talk about integration ideas, how you can, as you are coming into Germany, what you can do to, have a firm ground here and all that. And maybe a newly arriving student or a professional can so that they will not feel isolated and all that. So we should strengthen and expand these support systems. We should encourage successful diaspora, professionals to mentor the youth, especially those that are just coming in, to create spaces where we can share information about visas, about job applications, about housing, healthcare, and to uplift one another. And I'm happy with what Opportunity Pulse is doing, because this is what we are actually trying to achieve, where no Afro-Diaspora will be left behind, where everyone can, grow together, where everyone can find this support system. As you are coming into Germany, you are not alone, and, where we can empower ourselves and break down this feeling of, I'm on my own here in Germany. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's
Preach it, Pastor.
talking about talking about yeah, you really touched a lot of points that I'd like to come back to you now, Stephen.
Yeah.
First, it's one thing to know how to know about these opportunities, to ask for it, to get information. Now, but there's also the other side. How do you prepare yourself that when these opportunities come to you, when you ask about it? I mean, just before we went live, we were recording within the studio, right? Talking
Yes.
about an opportunity in the nursing sector in Germany. But where I'm going to is this: how do you think Africans living in Germany can prepare themselves such that when the opportunity comes, that they are ready for it? Because um, luck, they say, is opportunity meeting preparation. The
Absolutely.
opportunity comes, but then are you prepared for it? So what do you think? Because it's very easy to say, oh, they're not helping me, blah, 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 just complain. But how can you prepare yourself so that when that opportunity comes, that it's actually luck for you?
Mm. You just actually said, I was just going to say the same thing. If you see the luck, the curve, the opportunity and the chances, and then the luck, there's no one who has luck.
Right.
Luck meets those who are ready. So the level of preparedness will determine how much lucky you are.
Yeah.
So that means readiness is the knowledge you immerse yourself into, or like Lola has just said, just informing yourself, just finding information. Where are the communities meeting? What time do they meet? How do I inform myself about the topics they're going to discuss?
Yeah.
If there's an expert going to come present about jobs or opportunities, do I come with my CV? Do I come with my statement of purpose? Do I come with my document? Where do I need feedback? Then the other thing is openness. You know that what was again Lola said, not wishing others well. Sometimes this trivial menu, like very trivial things like dividing us, politics, tribal nationalities, and all that. And sometimes it also affects that people come with those kind of baggages and they come here in the new society, and it still affects how they relate
Yeah.
to other people, because they can't meet these people because of a certain religion,
Yeah.
because of a certain tribe, or because of the nationality, because of the socio-income status. That can be an issue. So my challenge, my call is openness, to say like, I am looking for my roots. I don't care where they come from. I don't care which language they speak back home, which political party they subscribe to.
Yeah.
I'm looking at advancing myself in this environment. I'm looking at grabbing my opportunity in this environment.
Yep.
And the last one I would say is that constant and never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
Like what Stephen Covey said in my favorite book of all time is Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about sharpening the saw. Like you could spend hours and hours cutting a tree only to find that you were using a very blunt saw. So that you could spend 5 minutes to sharpen it, cut the tree within seconds. So you have to sharpen this. So you have to keep learning, keep improving yourself. That means lifelong learning. There are so many opportunities to keep learning this side, but the problem is we always so contented with a small job that you're doing, with the family responsibilities and so on, but you don't use all these opportunities. So, how do we build strong communities? Use the opportunities that are available. Keep learning. Keep sharpening the saw. Be prepared all the time, and have a positive and open attitude or mindset to other people.
Yeah. 100%. Okay, guys, we always try to keep our session as short as possible, usually between 25, 30 minutes max. Sometimes we go a bit longer. But I feel like today we've already shared quite a handful of information, but more importantly, practical steps that you can begin to take. I think for me, the point here is, or the most significant part, which I believe we can all agree with, is the fact that more and more Africans are going to come to Germany, more and more Africans are going to come to Europe, more and more Africans are going to move abroad. Why? Because, yeah, the how would I even say it? Africa is the new world. So whether we like it or not, more and more things are going to emerge from the continent. And wherever we find ourselves, we need to understand what brings us together, support each other, and see that we can make the best out of this time in the history of humankind, which is about the time for Africa. Because that's what I genuinely believe. And it's a consciousness that everyone really has to wake up to. Gone are the days when you have to wait for something to be given to you. Now it's time to stand up and take what actually belongs to you. And if you can't take it, be prepared for it at least. So when someone gives it to you, you understand what that is. We are here always for you. If you're living in Germany, if you're living in Europe, you want to start a business, are you looking for a job? You're not sure how to integrate into the society. If we don't have the information, at least we can make a few phone calls, right? Yeah, we know one or two people to call. The point being, we genuinely want to be a part of building that strong and united Afro-Diaspora communities. And we're doing it practically. If for nothing, one podcast every 2 weeks at a time. That is already something. My point is, we go beyond the talking and we start doing something. We could talk all night long, but then what are we doing, essentially? So I'd like to thank my colleagues and guests in the studio, and also our special guest joining us um, virtually, for taking the time to be here today. I think this is a very important topic, and I really appreciate your views. Maybe back to you, Lola. Any final words so we can wrap it up for the evening?
Yeah, I think my final word would be that in spite of all these challenges I talked about or I listed, I stand here so optimistic. Why? Because I know that we Africans are incredibly resilient. We are creative. And so time and time again, our people have turned adversity into opportunity, finding ways to succeed because of not just in spite of their identity, but because we carry the legacy of those who came before us, who endured even greater hardship, but yet managed to live lives and communities in foreign lands. So I believe that coming together in forums like this, by having these honest conversations and turning them into concrete actions, we are already doing the work. So every mentorship formed, every community workshop held, every family strengthened, every voice lifted up, those are the bridges we build day by day. And so no action is too small. It could be as simple as helping a new immigrant with their CV, or it could be joining like a network like this, opportunity pulse. This is how we turn our shared vision into reality. So together we can ensure that our Afro diaspora communities not only find their voice and footing in Germany, but truly flourish, nurturing deep roots and extending bridges of opportunity for even generations to come. So yeah, I really look forward to our success and you know celebrating together. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And also thanks to you, Benita. We appreciate you for tuning in and watching us, and also for every other person watching us on the different media platforms. We appreciate you. Every time you reach out, we're always here for you. Steven, any final word from you before we wrap it up for the evening?
I would just want to say once again, thank you so much, Lola, for joining us today and for your brilliant, excellent sharing. And also like to encourage the viewers and listeners out there to reflect on this topic. We are about building bridges. We are about following and respecting and keeping our traditions, our roots, but at the same time trying to use them in a way that uplifts the communities where we land, where we are. And that means meeting and networking and joining other members, not isolating yourself. Most important, if you want to keep the roots and if you want to sustain them, you pass them on. You have families, give them to your kids. Read them books, tell them stories, and do everything that you were taught by your grandparents so that they will also be able to pass them on to the next generation. In that way, you're keeping the roots and also you're helping them to connect to the new place where they are. So that's it from my side, and it was a great pleasure to be around.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. Feel free to reach out wherever you're watching this from. We hope to hear from you. And we see you again latest in 2 weeks' time. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye bye.